All right, so in today's guided notes, we are going to be doing the bottom half of the application of percentages page that we started yesterday. We're going to be looking at how to calculate tip and then a combination of those various things. Okay, so when you are purchasing something and it is not a good, it's not an item, but rather a service, oftentimes we provide a tip for the individual who is giving us the service. So that might be when you get a haircut, the person who is doing your hair, or it might be when you go to a restaurant and you order food and the server, waiter or waitress is bringing you your food, you would provide them with a tip for their service. Okay, so how would I go about calculating that? So let's say we have a meal, and our meal at the restaurant costs $25. Well, it is a standard to give anywhere from a 15 to a 20% tip. Those would be considered a solid standard tip, a good tip, and then somewhere in between. But you have your discretion of leaving however much tip that you want. Okay, so how do you go about doing that? Okay, so you would calculate it very similarly to what you would do here with tax. So step one, you are going to multiply. And you can do that full meal amount, 25 times, and then you think, what percentage do you want to tip your server? So I'm just going to put something that's right in the middle. So I'm going to do 18%. So I'm going to convert that 18% to its equivalent decimal, 0.18. And that is going to equal the tip amount, which in this case, I'm going to work out that mathematically, and that's going to be $4.50. Okay, so how much is that meal going to cost me then? Well, I then need to add. So I'm going to take that original $25 plus my tip amount, $4.50, and that is going to equal the total amount, $29.50. So it's basically the meal price plus the tip equals the total amount. All right, now I'm sure you've heard of some tips and tricks for how you can calculate tip in sort of a shortcut or an easier way. So sure, you could work this out by hand, multiply by 0.18, but that's not really a convenient thing to do, is it? So here's a little trick. There's a couple of things you can do. First of all, you can double the tax. Okay, so as we said, tax in California is 7.25%, but if you just round to 8, or you could even round, you could just call it 7.5%. If you were to use that, whatever tax rate they put on your restaurant bill, you could just double that amount, and that would give you roughly between that 15 and 20% range, depending on exactly what the calculated tax amount was. So let's say your restaurant, they calculated it with an 8% tax due to the county, the municipal, and the state taxes. 8%, if you were to double whatever is on the itemized bill, it would then be a 16% tip, which that would be then on the lower end of what would be acceptable. So you could double the tax. Or you could take your bill and you could find what 10% is and then double it. Now we've gotten very familiar with finding 10% of a dollar amount, and then you would then double it so that you would then be giving a 20% tip. So those are two little tricks that you can do. Okay, so what do you do if you have a combination of these things? Let's say you go out to a restaurant and you know that you need to leave a tip, and you have a coupon with the discount, and you know that there's going to be tax. How do you work all of that? All right, so if you have more than one, percentage step, if you have more than one percentage step, you should calculate in order. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, so let's say it is the $25 meal again. The first thing you're gonna wanna do is, based off of the full price, you are gonna want to do, step one is calculate what the tip is going to be. Okay, so let's say you want it to be your 20% tip. You're gonna take that $5 and set it aside for your server, for their great service. You're really appreciative. The next thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna calculate the discount. Okay, so let's say you have a 25% off coupon. That is going to be mentally set aside, okay? So you're not actually going to deduct it just yet. You just know that that tip amount is based off of the full meal price, not the discounted meal price. So 25% off, hold on, that is going to be $6.25. So that gives us the remaining total of $18.75, because I'm taking my full meal amount, I'm subtracting my discount, and I'm getting $18.75. Okay, so that's after I've applied my coupon. Now, my next step is tax is then applied from the discounted amount. So tax, so let's say it's that same 8% rate, but just be aware that the specific tax amount is going to vary depending on what county you're in or what state you're in. So I just like to, like I said yesterday, I just like to round up so that I'm on the safe side. So 8%. So 8% of 1875, so that's going to take that 1875 times 0.08, and that is going to be plus $1.50 in tax, which gives me my $20.25 total after tax. That's how much the restaurant gets after the discounted amount and then apply the tax. But I have to remember, I set aside $5 for my server. So I'm going to add that back on, and it's going to go directly to my server, which means my meal costs me $25.25. All right, so if you have any questions on how to do those, join me for office hours and I'm happy to help you.